So we may only be 2 short weeks into 2024, but already I've been sweating like Rolf Harris at a playground picnic with all of these phone launches kicking off. And if your hobbies include murdering other humans in virtual combat, well, cop a load of Asus's ROG Phone 8 and ROG Phone 8 Pro. These literally flashy gaming handsets dish up the latest super-powered Snapdragon smarts in a slightly more compact form factor than previous ROGs. Forget all that expensive premium tech though. The best bit is without a doubt doodling a Mr. Happy and turning it into a spur-terrific light show to surprise and titillate all of the old dears on your bus. And a full review of this bad boy is coming next Tuesday. For those on a tighter budget, well, perhaps the fresh Honor Magic 6 Lite will sizzle your sausage instead. You can't beam crudely drawn peni onto the back end sadly, but that arse is slathered in a tasty bit of fake leather, and you can still play stuff like Genshin Impact, albeit on a not quite so good graphics setting. Battery life is bloody excellent, and my only real complaint is the shonky software, which at times is about as enjoyable as finding yourself stuck in a lift with James Corden and realising with absolute horror that you've left your best hammer at home. The Honor Magic 6 Lite rather mercifully only costs 350 British punds, so no worries if you've already spent all of your savings on massive boxes full of booze to get through yet another holiday stuck in a house with the absolute animals you call your family. And if your interest is PK'd, well, my full review of the Magic 6 Lite is live right now. Nice. And likewise, Xiaomi just spaffed out its latest Poco X6 series. Yet more affordable mobiles stuffed full of impressive hardware and Xiaomi's fresh new HyperOS launcher. I've not only smashed out a side-by-side comparison with the Poco X6 and the Poco X6 Pro, but I've also done you a full 1-week Poco X6 Pro review. Call it a belated Christmas present because I already drank that other thing what I got you. So yeah, just 2 weeks into 2024 and already we've had all of that hot new phone action before my guts have even had a chance to recover from all that New Year's booze and ill-advised extra lashings of cheesy dip. And yet, in the next month or two, you can expect dozens more fresh new handsets to be launched by the likes of OnePlus, Nothing, Samsung, and yes, even more from Xiaomi and Honor, who apparently don't even know the meaning of the word break, unless we're talking about my spirits as yet another 5 smartphones drop onto the doormat of Techspert Towers. So anyway, crack open a can of your best special brew and settle in for a highly enthusiastic look at some of the best smartphones coming up in the next couple of months. Techspert Weekly! Now, one of the biggest tech launches of 2024 is happening just next week in San Jose, when Samsung will finally officially waggle about its new S24 handsets on stage in front of a massive crowd of geeks, TikTokers, and people like me who are just there for the free bar. That's right, your Uncle Spurt will be there in person, wedged deep inside of that, I'm sure not at all sweaty and foul-smelling crowd. Camera in one hand, hip flask in the other, ready to throw some balls and slap down some of my fellow nerds to get some hands-on action with that hot phone stuff. It's all popping off just down the road from Apple HQ and all, so maybe I'll pop in and say hi and make sure they aren't doing anything fucking stupid like working on yet another iPhone SE. Or who knows, maybe I'll just leave a flaming bag of dog shit on the doorstep, knock and then run away. Never not funny. Now, Samsung's Galaxy S24 series will mostly look like this here S23 series, except for a flat screen and titanium finish for the proper posh Ultra effort. That wallet-draining mega blower should also boast a proper camera upgrade, with lots of internet chat about a fresh 200 megapixel primary sensor, or possibly a proper 1-inch effort for upgraded night photography. And similar leaky people online reckon that Samsung will replace the old 10 megapixel telephoto camera with a fresh new 50 meg effort. However, in news that is unfortunately about as welcome as an incontinent Great Dane, it appears that Samsung may be cramming its own Exynos 2400 chipset into the regular Galaxy S24 and S24 Plus, at least in the UK models. So you'll have to either upgrade to the Ultra or bugger off to the States if you want some of that Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 action. Now, so far, in all of the smartphones I've tested that use it, the Snapdragon has proven itself to be a proper beefy bugger. But can the Exynos keep up? Well, early reports reckon it's no dum-dum when it comes to gaming, with a fashionable bit of ray tracing guff if you enjoy staring at fancy fake reflections and shadows, whenever you want, decapitating people with a well-aimed shotgun blast. And Samsung is apparently going balls deep with its AI shenanigans on the Galaxy S24 series, so you can expect most if not all of those fresh new features to be based around on-device AI. So for instance, when you're zooming in using the camera, that Smarty Pants NPU can apparently help to sharpen up the image and spaff out something really crisp and clear. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if they implement some AI-based augmented reality tomfoolery, along the lines of type in a few words and then we'll turn you into a cartoon-based version of that. Because yeah, Samsung gets a wee bit hard for all of this. We'll certainly have the furry crowd spaffing in their pants. And who knows, perhaps with some serious AI tweaking, Samsung can even make Bixby a bit less bollocks. Even if they just raise its IQ to more than the average estate agents, that would be good. Anyway, if you're dead excited about it all, you can actually reserve your Galaxy S20 series blower right now online. Just cast your eyes down there, filthy get, and click on that link in the video description. Now, the OnePlus 12 may have already launched over in China, but this attractive flagship will earn itself a proper global release on January the 23rd. And seeing how the OnePlus 11 was one of my favourite premium phones of last year, I'm so giddy I could just explode into a fountain of kidneys and man juice at the thought of a successor. Expect lots of improvements, including a bigger battery, wireless charging, some upgraded camera zoom action, and those clever Arse Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 brains. And as an added bonus, that flagship should be accompanied by the OnePlus 12R. Quite the rarity, as those R series phones usually only launch in select regions. I actually already did a full video on this more affordable alternative and no one f***ing watched it, so why not give it a click? Put a few pence in your Uncle Spurt's pocket so we can go get bollocks down the local spoons, eh? And another hot rival to the OnePlus 12 is the spangly new Xiaomi 14, which again has already launched over in China, alongside an even more spangly Pro model. And this perky pair is expected to go global at the MWC 2024 Expo over in Barcelona, happening at the back end of February. That regular Xiaomi 14 is a compact-ish 6.36 inches, and once again powered by that Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, popular lad. You'll have a beautifully bright OLED screen, 90-watt fast battery charging, and a triple 50-meg Leica camera setup. Meanwhile, the Pro model upgrades that tech with a swanky variable aperture camera. You've got a dedicated security chip and an even bigger battery with 120-watt charging, all wrapped up in a slick ceramic body, although it's also a big bugger at 6.7 inches. And no worries if your wallet is feeling a wee bit light for all of that hot flagship action, because Xiaomi's Redmi Note 13 series, which should be a lot more affordable, is just around the river bend. This tasty trio of budget big boys has already debuted in India, but a full global launch should be happening next week. The Pro and the Pro Plus 5G models offer several upgrades, including a 200 megapixel camera with optical stabilization. You got double the storage, faster battery charging, a crotch thrustingly powerful chipset, and a brighter display. While this here Pro Plus model is the only one to offer a fake leather finish, as well as full IP68 water and dust resistance. Fancy. Very similar to those Poco smartphones, what I already reviewed, and definitely expect full reviews and comparisons of these Redmi blowers imminently. And then if you didn't already have plenty of affordable mobiles to choose from, well, they should have a hot new rival in the Nothing Phone 2A, which is again expected to launch at MWC 2024 alongside those Xiaomi flagships. The Nothing Phone 2A is a more affordable alternative to the regular Nothing Phone 2, and I already banged on about it at great length in last week's show. So go have a squint at that if you want to know more. I'm not going to bother repeating myself here because A, I'm a lazy twat, and B, I'm getting a serious thirst on. And while Honor has already pumped out the new Magic 6 Lite, we are yet to see its beefier siblings, the regular Magic 6 and Magic 6 Pro, which were almost casually announced back at Qualcomm's Snapdragon Summit. The most distinctive feature here is that Magic Capsule, as Honor calls it. Not at all a rip-off of Apple's Dynamic Island wankery. You should have the usual enormous camera slapped around back as well, and lots of premium specs including, yep, shock horror, that Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Now you could also expect Honor to spank out a more spangly fancy pants Porsche edition option of both of these blowers soon, which of course have already leaked all over the internet. And yes, you racing fans will certainly look dapper with one of these clutched in your fist as you furiously beat off to old Top Gear episodes. And yes, gazing forward in 2024, lots more phones to look forward to, including the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 6. Mark 6 we're up to now. What the bloody bollocks did that happen? Time be disappearing faster than my sodden hair follicles. Got the likes of Google's Pixel 8a and Samsung's Galaxy A series blows as well, yet more affordable mid-range mobiles. And all of this due to hit just in the next few months before we even hit the halfway mark of 2024. And you can bet your sweet buns I'll try and cover as much of it as humanly possible, but not have a bloody stroke first. Just please, dear God above, no more iPhone SEs, I beg you. I would do anything. I would give Satan a wedgie to avoid having to review one of these god-awful slabs of solidified donkey diarrhea. But anyway, please do let us know down in the comments below which of these blows you are particularly spurting with joy at the thought of fondling. Or if there's any big blowers on the horizon that I didn't mention in this roundup, definitely, again, let us know. Feel free to call me a bald wazik or whatever you fancy. And anyway, speaking of solidified donkey diarrhea, now it's time for viewer comments. Viewer comments. Okay, let's start this week with Michael, who says, just how much coffee did you have before shooting this video, Chris? You're bouncing all over the place. I didn't even notice, to be honest, but that sounds like it's probably down to the multiple pots of coffee I consume on a daily basis to get through the many hours of video editing shenanigans. And that's right, I did say hours. Admittedly, the end result may not exactly match the effort put into it, but I do spend literal hours hunched over my shitty MacBook putting these things together, rather than the 5 or so minutes that you might expect. So I've just noticed the time as well, so I spent so long banging on about all the bloody phones that we're almost out of time already, and we've only just begun. We've only just begun this show. So this is going to have to be rapid fire, unfortunately. Marin Kitagawa, sorry if I completely mauled the pronunciation there, says, Techspert never fails to make my day worse. I mean, that is what I live for, right there, just knowing that I made a difference. Delivering a metaphorical kick to the knackers of people across the globe who came on the internet and wanted nothing more than to just learn a wee bit about some new phone or something. And instead, what do they receive? A full frontal assault of barely coherent obscenities and the occasional spot of wanksockery. What a great mate, Michael Ball, you're right Michael, says, the longest lasting gift I got for Christmas was COVID. Me and my entire family have been playing pass the parcel with it since Christmas Day. I'm sorry to hear about your viral woes, Michael. It's another good reason just to follow my lead and shut yourself away in a room in your house. And look at me, I'm happy and healthy. Oopsies. I went unclenched there for a second when I really shouldn't have. Be right back, kiddies. Just got to change the old Y fronts. Right. Oh, shouldn't sit down too fast either. O2 Cornwall says, hey Spurt, I'm a fellow metal music fan and I've always wondered what's the best phone for listening to music direct from the speakers. We always get in-depth reviews from YouTubers, but sound quality gets overlooked usually. Well, to be honest, there are very few phones out there that I've personally tested that have speakers good enough to play music on. Most are absolutely fine for a bit of YouTube or Netflix or whatever, but actual tunes sound about as appealing as an hour-long James Corden comedy special. And like, especially if we're talking metal music, that'll just sound like a 911 call of someone being anally assaulted by a sentient dishwasher. If you absolutely insist on listening to music through a phone speaker, well, the iPhone's speakers unfortunately are one of the best out there, can't be denied. Sony Xperia 1 series as well, those are pretty good, but honestly you're best off just getting a cheapy Bluetooth speaker, just a compact one, and just carrying that about with you and connecting to that instead. Next up, the Pieman66 here with a big one, says, hi Mr. Spurt, I've noticed that a lot of tech reviewers reference the game Genshin Impact during their reviews. I understand that it's an intensive game and therefore is a good guide to how well a phone will handle intensive tasks. However, I am a bit confused regarding the pronunciation of Genshin Impact, as you pronounce it Genshin Impact, while some inferior reviewers pronounce it Genshin Impact. Can you please confirm which is the correct pronunciation? So it probably would have helped if you'd written it phonetically there, mate. I'm not sure how to pronounce Genshin Impact. I've just always said Genshin Impact. Like, how else would you say it? Like, Genshin Impact? I'm actually thinking about it. Maybe it's Genshin Impact? Kind of like how Studio Ghibli is actually apparently pronounced Studio Ghibli, as I was once made all too aware by a pack of unwashed internet c***s. Not you guys, I just like to stress, you guys are fantastic. Yeah, no, very much other unwashed internet c***s. But anywho, I'm going to keep on calling it Genshin Impact, and if you're a pedantic sub dodger, feel very free to call me out in the comments down below and clue me in as to how it's actually said. Now, the tasty tech topic of last week's show was, of course, the Nothing Phone 2A, the upcoming more affordable version of the current Nothing Phone 2. And we've had a few thoughts from you lovely buggers on that one. So Baz Anime says, quite impressive for a brand that was originally laughed off as vaporware before its first release. Now its devices are praised and anticipated. Happy New Year, Spartans. Thank goodness you survived the sprouts. No, seriously, mate, don't even say the word sprouts. It makes my lower intestine twinge with regret. Yeah, I've got to admit, I was a massive Nothing skeptic back in the day when they did launches without actually launching anything. And then, of course, they put the Nothing OS out on the Google Play Store so you could download it and try it out for yourself. I think I was less than complimentary about that in my review. I was going to say, in fact, that this is the launcher equivalent of herpes, except it's thankfully much easier to get rid of. But hey, it all came good when they actually released some products, eh? Old School Official says, Nothing should bring a flip phone. Could imagine they'd make great use of that outer screen. And Azu10157 says, Phone 2A looks cool, but I already got an S23. Maybe if Nothing releases a flip, that would be sweet. A flip will be my next upgrade, assuming the world doesn't go to shit when I decide to upgrade. I think you mean even more to shit. And I can't see Nothing doing a flip phone anytime soon, but it certainly would be interesting. So yeah, call lads, get on it. Herr Brisby says, my Honor View 20 will turn 5 years old this year, so I'm looking for something new. The Nothing Phone 2A might be a candidate. Bloody hell, 5 years old. That's kind of scary. And yeah, I mean, like, you got some cracking mileage out of that one. Yeah, the View 20 was actually one of the first phones that I did a proper long-term review of back when I first started this channel. Look at that fresh-faced cockwomble. Check out that thick mane of hair. Marvel at how people were already complaining about how I don't stop banging on ever. Stuart J says, if it has better than 30-watt wireless charging, twin SIM slots, a good screen, stereo speakers, a headphone jack, good battery and a half-decent camera, I might give it a second look. Some perfectly fair demands there, you know, it's quite a long list, but nothing too outlandish at all. Headphone jack, you might be stretching a bit there, because I don't think the original Nothing Phone 2 had a headphone jack, but hey, fingers crossed. Next up, Mubashir, again, apologies if I completely f***ed that up, says, I love that the faux leather trend in phones is back. I still have my Moto X 2nd gen, which had a beautiful leather back, but unfortunately I bricked it, being a clumsy git. Now, bugger, it didn't fall on the luxuriously soft back end then. That's kind of bloody annoying. But yeah, I very much love a pretend leather arse as well, ever since the LG G... wasn't the G3, was it? Was it the G4? Woof! Carlu says, is the Vivo X100 coming to the UK? Well, mate, I'll tell you what isn't coming to the UK, and that's my Vivo X100 after those marvellous at UPS went and lost it. Lost it / banged it straight on eBay. Cheers, chaps. Merry f***ing 2024 to you. Yeah, hopefully it'll get a UK launch. Vivo seems to be ramping up a little bit in this country. Otherwise, quite a lot of them do end up sadly being import jobs. Dave8204 says, already well into the first week of the year and no new phones from Motorola. Very good point, sir. Maybe they're too busy rolling out last June's security updates to their current range. Yeah, touche, and I am more than a wee bit surprised that they haven't spaffed out any new handsets so far, and we're like 2 weeks into the year. Don't worry, I'm sure they'll more than make up for it at MWC with about 24 of the buggers. And I Throw Sticks says, I'm not here for the tech, I want to hear Uncle Spurt defend Sunderland getting hammered by the Geordies in the FA Cup. And we're bang out of time, so a massive thank you to everyone who left a comment last week. Apologies if we didn't quite get to yours. Please do smash your comments down below and we'll try and power drive our way through as many of those as possible next week. And speaking of next week, what the f*** is next week? Well, as I mentioned right at the start of the video at some point, I will be over in San Jose next week for the Samsung Galaxy S24 Unpacked launch. So you can expect your Uncle Spurt to be a wee bit jet lagged and therefore probably even more incoherent than usual. So not quite sure what the exact subject of next week's show will be, but it'll probably be Samsung related, you could imagine. And as if Unpacked wasn't bloody enough, for next week? Well, on Monday, Xiaomi is doing a global launch for some of its fresh new Redmi smartphones. So you can expect some great value new blowers packing some proper willy waving tech for a price that won't make you absolutely top yourself. And also, that ROG Phone 8 and ROG Phone 8 Pro reviews embargo lifts on the Tuesday. You might have seen my shorts about the ROG Phone 8 Pro already. Well, expect an in-depth gaming review, because, I haven't had anything else to do, really. And I really must bugger right off now, but yeah, just a massive thank you to everyone, as always, for watching this shower of shit to the end. Please do poke subscribe, ding that notifications bell if you haven't done already, and so I can completely put you off. And have yourselves a bloody wonderful weekend. Cheers, everyone. Love you.